In today's episode of the ODAN Asks podcast, we speak with the one and only Vibe Chemistry and we dive deep into some of his early influences in music and how he got started. If you're an up and coming music producer, artist, or DJ and you want a dose of inspiration, this is the podcast for you because I find some of his early Facebook statuses from 10 years ago where he's getting excited over some of his early tracks when he didn't have the following that he has now. So sit down, shut up, because this is a madness of an episode. I hope you all enjoy. What's good, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Odin Ask podcast. Today we are joined by none other than Vibe Chemistry. How you doing, man?
Yo, man, good. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm pretty gassed, to be fair. When your Loca release got put out, I've been having that on
Yeah.
repeat. I'm not gonna lie. It's been on my radio, like on my way to work and stuff. So are you pretty gassed with it?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, mate. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
proper happy with that one. It's just a proper fun vibe. And
Yeah.
that one, I swear to God, I've just been mixing and like I've just found so many tunes for it. Like it's so blendable. So
Yeah. It's definitely
uh,
like a big track to end the year on.
yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, it's a bit weird because it's like a bit of a summer vibe and it's like snowing at the moment. So it's a
Yeah.
bit fun. But
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've had it where I've been working on tracks and it's just not fitting the vibe of the weather that we're in at the moment. But
yeah,
it's
but
just
it's summer somewhere. So I come back from Australia and that was sweaty out there. So
yeah.
that was
So
a
I
hot
can
one.
imagine that's probably where you're getting your influence from with that track.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, I actually did that. I actually made that track after I did a set in Portugal.
Oh yeah.
I was all around that, summer vibes, and then I thought, yeah, I'm gonna start trying to make
Yeah. Well,
all
it may be a summer vibe, but it's definitely getting me gassed and like it's a good one to go in towards Christmas. You got any like plans for Christmas this year?
So I am doing a show 2 days before Christmas, which is actually my birthday. So
Oh, mad.
yeah, try having a birthday 2 days before Christmas, isn't it? You
Yeah,
always
I'm 5 days after, so I know what
oh
it's
man,
like. People are mashing your presents like Christmas and birthday and all of that.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
and
wait a
you
whole
get
year.
yeah, you get what is it, Merry Christmas crossed out and then Happy Birthday on the
Yeah,
present.
or like your presents joint. They're like, oh, we put them together because we
Yeah,
can't afford to get you two. So it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Pick one
man.
from under the tree and it just pick one.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
one. We got to wait a whole year for like two lots of presents. It's madness.
yeah. It
But
is yeah, it's crazy.
you spending like any time with family or anything over Christmas or?
Uh yeah, seeing some family, doing the tour of duty, seeing the family and then yeah, I think I'm just chilling here with my girlfriend for the rest of it and then yeah, have a quiet one. Even though for the last two Christmases and birthdays I've had
Hmm.
COVID, so
Oh,
I've been stuck inside like for both of them. And then this time round, I'm just chilling anyway. So
yeah.
just a hermit, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed everything's all good for this year coming round. You got any strange or like unique family traditions that you do on Christmas or anything? I know some people have like all sorts going on.
No, it's I think with pretty much
Mm,
the bog standard
yeah.
Christmas, Aunt Bessie's potatoes, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. Yeah.
Do you get up to any like raucous Christmas Eve or anything? Normally, me and my siblings we go out on Christmas Eve, and sometimes it's caused a bit of trouble in the family.
Yeah, yeah, just waking up battered and hungover for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so this will be like the first Christmas where I'm trying not to drink or anything,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So for like the last like 14 years, I think every Christmas I've been like
yeah. How old are you
waking up.
turning? How old are you
So
turning?
27, so
27.
approaching the 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming,
Oh,
man.
scary.
The backache is slowly kicking
No,
in.
you don't look
Oh,
it. You still look like a 22-year-old. You're looking sick, man.
thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So I find it quite interesting because obviously like when I'm seeing you within the music scene and the music you're putting out, I forget that you've been in this game for so long
Yeah, it's been a
because
while.
I think a lot of people would just think of you as like young guy came out of nowhere, but I've done a bit of research into you and like how far like it goes back, and I've been listening to you for quite a while, but yeah, it goes back quite far. I'm just like, interested. What is it that brought you into thinking like this whole production thing? Like, what made you think to start producing music?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, first of all, big ups because you proper supported it around that time where
Mm,
it was climbing, man. So big ups for that. And yeah, I think yeah, just along the lines, just sort of dabbled into different things. But my brother showed me I wasn't like really into music or anything.
yeah,
And my brother showed me like a Chasing Status tune,
yeah,
and it was Saxon. It was like a dubstep tune. And I heard that, and I remember being like, oh well, that's just changed my life. I was like, because now I just
mm,
want to do that. It just sounded so cool to me, and I was like, I was just hooked on it, right? And then I sort of made like the dubstep. I mean, at this time I was 14 years old, so I was making like the dubstep stuff using the Fruity Loops, like oscillators, like
yeah. I know. Yeah,
the
back
first
then.
yeah, mate, I swear to God, I had like 20 tunes, which was with the kick and snare. That is just that, the basic thing that comes with Fruity Loops. I rinsed
Yeah,
it, man. I'm still tempted to go back to it today, like, but
yeah.
yeah,
That's how when like dubstep was fully popping on. You couldn't get away
yeah,
from it. Everyone was just obsessed with it.
yeah. And then I think like with the UKF stuff, and then I think when I started like, going out or like parties and things like that,
Mm,
it's like the drum and bass made more sense to me. I was like, oh, I get it
yeah,
because I think I just preferred the energy, of it. So I dived into that. And then I moved to Southampton for a bit. So then I started making like grime and instrumental stuff because there's a few of the
mm,
lads around there, like the locals who all spit bars and things like that. And I thought some of them sounded sick. And I was like, right, I want to work with these guys. And yeah, so I've been sort of dabbling in that. And then from there, I come back to Milton Keynes, and all my friends around here, we're all into
yeah,
our drum and bass. You know what I mean? So I think it's that thing of like you just kind of want to like make tunes, impress the friends.
yeah,
Being around it, being amongst it, and then yeah, just started making the drum and bass stuff again, and loving it. And then I got all the other influences, like all the trap, the drill, and the grime, and things like that. They're sort of influenced into the drum and bass. So
yeah,
even with
definitely.
like balling, you can hear a bit of a trappy sort of vibe.
Yeah, that's sick. What would you say is like the earliest drum and bass track that you can remember listening to?
Uh,
Or
Take Me
one that
Away,
points take me away.
Away. Yeah, the Chosen State is Take Me Away. I think that was like the tune sort of dived into next, and then
Yeah.
yeah, that
It's
that
it's
that
one of
will
them ones
forever
that
be a
still
banger.
holds up today.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
timeless, which is
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
there's so much from just those Chase and Status albums that really set the bar and sort of pushed drum and bass
yeah,
onto like it's having like a new resurgence of going mainstream and stuff. And like with people like you, Goddard, just making it into top 40s and that. It's so good to see. But I'd say like the early Chase and Status albums just really probably opened a lot of doors for people.
yeah, pioneering for sure.
Yeah,
It's
massively. Do you reckon when you're in school, were you very musical or anything? Like, would if people to look back from when you were at school, would they say you'd be doing what you're doing right now?
Yeah, to be honest, the DJ button, music class, DJ,
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 DJ.
uh-huh, all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I was sick on that. That was
Mm.
probably I probably spent more time on that than anyone. Yeah, that was good fun. And then yeah, I actually when I was I'm trying to think how old, when I was like 10, I think my brother used to play like a little bit of guitar, so he
Yeah.
taught me some chords, and then I just carried on playing the guitar for a bit, and then I got to about 14, and I just stopped playing. So the level of guitar I have now is like it's kind of capped at
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I used to enjoy that, picking up the guitar, mainly to impress the ladies. But it was that one. It was
Yeah.
doing that, and then kind of just carried on with that. But then as soon as I found electronic music, I slowed down with the guitar and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
I know
yeah,
what you mean.
through school, year 11 into like I did like a year of sixth form before I was like, oh, this ain't for me. I want to, pursue the music and do
Mm.
that at college. I was just sit there in class, you know what I mean, and just be on Fruity Loops with the laptop and
Yeah.
just make tunes, man. And that was pretty much it. Just
Yeah. Do you ever use the guitar in tracks that you're making at the moment?
yeah, I do quite a bit with the guitar. I record that in, the chords. And the great thing about producing is you get unlimited takes. So even if you're I wouldn't say I'm the best guitarist, but
Yeah.
because you get unlimited takes and you get to cut it down and get the best bits, it makes me sound like, a lot better than
Yeah.
I am. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
don't catch me doing it live in it with a deck. with the
You never know. One day you could get to the point where you're doing like those live DJ performances where you could hop on the guitar and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
like,
that'd be wicked, man. That'd be wicked. I mean, I've dabbled in a few things. I like I've even tried spitting bars before and singing on tracks, and I think it's
yeah.
one of the things, if you do a little bit of everything, when you do collaborate, you can speak in their language
Oh,
and
yeah,
create that.
definitely. And I think it's just good for getting your ideas across as well. If you're working with someone, you could be like, no, I want it like this.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And there's been times where it's been beneficial. But yeah, I think there was like a 2 month period where I was like, yeah, I could be a rapper, and then that was
mm.
like that slowly faded. I mean, I got a there's a black box on YouTube of me
Yeah, I
rap.
think I remember seeing that somewhere. I
Yeah,
was because when I was doing research on like just from when you started, I do remember you sharing something a while back, and I couldn't for the life of me remember what it was because I remember seeing some of like your earlier hip hop and grime beats and stuff that you were doing.
yeah,
I couldn't remember what it was, but I was like thinking like if I could find that somewhere, it'd be pretty mad. But
yeah.
when I was being Sherlock Holmes and doing my research, I did find some of the early beginnings of vibe chemistry. And if I'm correct, you went by a name, was it Morisco?
Morisco, yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, that's wicked. You definitely, mate.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes, you definitely done your
Yeah.
research. Wicked,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
That was real early days, man.
yeah.
That is going
Yeah.
back.
So obviously, I think from what I've gathered, that's a part of your name, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So that was yeah, it's my second name. And then I just use that really. And then
Yeah. So what made you change to vibe chemistry? What's the secret behind the name?
so I'm pretty sure, right? I don't know if I got it right, but I looked on Wikipedia and it
Mm.
means like to eat endangered species. So I was like, right, I got to change my name for
Oh.
that. So yeah, I saw it on a Wikipedia page. Someone might have just put it there, but yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was yeah. And so yeah, I changed my name. I was like five chemistry. I wanted something a bit more fitting as well, like something that sort of described because I made so many different um ranges of music and couldn't really pinpoint on what I wanted to make exactly. Even
Yeah.
in drum and bass, like the subgenres, I was making jump up one day and then the most
Yeah.
chill liquid ambient tune possible. So I just wanted something that sort of reflected that. And then vibe chemistry. I remember just sitting in my room for about like 6 hours trying to think of a name. I had like thesauruses, I had like
Yeah.
word creators, everything just throwing words at me.
Mm.
And then I got to vibe first, and I was like, right, I just need a next word. And then eventually got to vibe chemistry, which is, you know, because
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
was quite happy with the name. I was like, yeah, this
It,
fits, this works.
it definitely does fit, and I can see well why you would have came up with that. Because from when I've listened back to your old music, especially when you were doing it under the name Morisco, you are making not just drum and bass, like you got some house stuff on there. Like you're literally
Yeah,
making all sorts, which is probably why your production now is so diverse because you started off making like you're saying you've done grime beats, then you're making stuff like house and everything. So you
yeah,
probably learned a lot from that. So I can understand why you went for vibe chemistry in the end. Definitely, it's
yeah, for sure, for sure. And that them days were wicked. It was like just trying out anything and everything. And
yeah,
I wasn't really so I think it's only when you get that sort of a little bit old. I mean, at the time, being like 14 years old, just in school chilling, it's like that's the sort of age onwards where people start developing like what culture they want to be a part
yeah,
of, where like, identity is within music and things like that. And then I got to I got to a point where I just found every project is just going to that 174, and
yeah,
I I, I was like, this is it felt more natural to me, even though I dived into everything else. And I thought, as much as I think that has been important in my sort of progression and having them
mm,
influence it, it yeah, more and more, I just started making drum and bass. And then I just, yeah, just sort of figured that one out. I was like, yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
this is,
well, when I was obviously doing my Sherlock Holmes, I found your Facebook for Morisco,
yeah.
and I just want to go through a couple things on there because when I was going through it, I was actually getting super inspired and motivated because I was just looking at it. I
Yeah.
found a status you put up from February 14th, 2012,
Yeah.
and you put 1,000 views on my new song, Yeah Boy.
Come on, yeah, boy.
And I'm just
Yeah.
I'm looking at that and I'm just thinking for any new music producer that is like just thinking of like when they're starting out and you're getting like those smaller numbers. It's quite hard to get disheartened by when you're looking at people like yourself to think that, oh, I'll never get to like your track balling where it's like in the charts and stuff. But then when I look
Yeah,
back at that, that's 10 years ago, and you're
yeah.
getting gassed over your track getting 1,000 views, and
Yeah,
it's
I think I
crazy.
actually had like the same sort of level of gasness, I guess, or like the same level of hype I had for like that 1,000 views than I do for like certain achievements now. Like, I remember at the
Yeah,
time being like, oh my god, 1,000 views! I was buzzing. I was like
it
bouncing
is.
around.
It is
Yeah,
so weird how like your expectations get higher. So
yeah,
now it's
yeah,
like them 1,000 views, you're just as gassy you are for like when your track gets 1 million.
yeah, yeah, for
Because
sure. It's
you're just so desperate for people just to listen to what you're putting out.
yeah, yeah, and to just yeah at the time get that many was you set them sort of goals for yourself and then milestones and that's like I think the first one and when you first start out getting to that can be like the hardest bit and then doubling that might not be as hard
Yeah,
so that's the real sort of grind at that level and one bit of advice that I can definitely give to anyone who's like starting out producing music is don't leave your education to chance. It doesn't have to. I don't think it has to take as long as it did for me and by sort of slow progression. I wouldn't say like I'm talented. I just say I'm just obsessed with it, so I'll just put so much time into it.
mm,
It was only in the last, sort of, it was actually during lockdown. I actually paid for someone to teach me. It was Human Nature, who's on the Quissy,
yeah,
and he makes a range of music, and he's a wicked producer and a great teacher. And he taught me things that I didn't even know I had to know. So
yeah,
where I'm on Fruity Loops and leaving it to chance and just being like, oh, if I just keep pressing buttons, I'll figure it out. It's like this stuff has been pioneered before. There's so many things that people have already figured out to make your sound better
mm,
that I kind of wished in the early stages, I listened to tunes that I made in like, I've been making music like coming up to 13 years now. Like 5 years into my production, I listen back to them tunes and I think, oh, if only I just knew this sciencey stuff, just a little bit of it, how much these tunes would have actually had more of like maybe more of an impact in and help chip in. So
yeah. Do you almost find it's like when you listen back to some of them older tracks, the vibe, pardon the pun, is
yeah,
there,
it
but
happens.
the mix down is the thing that was like holding it back.
Yeah, mixed down, and there's even things now like I even like being dependent on mix down, right? And not realizing like everything at the source, if you can get that the best sound, and the mix down is secondary and then the master is third down the warehouse
Yeah,
of like, making the product of a tune, that, you get it where it's like, it's like trying to build a house without doing the foundations, right?
yeah,
And even knowing that, and I would have spent more time just because early days you kind of think like, oh, if you knew all the mix down stuff, suddenly it would just turn your tune into this magic perfect tune where getting it right at the real early levels. I think that's the other problem with if like, when you go onto the YouTube and things like that and look for tutorials and everyone goes for mix down stuff straight away, and it's like
yeah,
you're trying to learn that stuff before you've learned, getting the right samples, sound design, the real nitty gritty of the beginning stuff.
yeah, definitely. I'll just go through a couple more little things from the
Nice.
Facebook just
Yeah,
because
I've enjoyed this. This is fun.
it is. So I got another picture. I'll have to put it up on the screen when I had the video up. But I got a picture. You got a picture of your setup, and you're pretty gassed about it. And it is a laptop with Fruity Loops. I'm not sure if the headphones are like Xbox headphones or something.
Yeah, I think I know the picture. Yeah,
Yeah,
expo.
and then there's a 35p energy drink. So it's like you were on your grind. I like
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah, late nights. Late
Yeah.
nights from early.
And then
But
I got another one here, 2012. Made it my mission to one day crowd surf. Have you completed that mission yet?
no, I keep looking at it, and I'm just like, I don't know if I've got the bottle to do it right. Because I'm just like, if you jump for it and do it, it's like you're putting so much trust, and I just
Yeah,
think, knowing my luck, and it'll be the time everyone's just like, who the
yeah, I
fuck is
know
this?
what I mean. But
And I'm like, yeah, maybe not, but dreams
yeah,
change.
all right, I'll do one last one because this one was the one that like got me proper just gassed. This is in 2014. You wrote, Although my music may never make me rich or famous, that doesn't matter because when I'm sat there making music, I get lost in creativity and escape reality and stress, which the world can bring. If I can do any of that to at least one of you in my music career, then it's easy to see why being rich and famous doesn't matter. And I just thought,
Jeez,
reading that, that's from
yeah,
2014, where
yeah.
it's like you're still an upcoming producer. With all due respect, you're probably like an unknown producer.
Oh
And
yeah,
then to think like where you are now when I'm speaking with you, where
yeah.
like within the drum and bass scene, I would say like you are famous. Like people know Vibe Chemistry. You know Vibe Chemistry song when it comes on. Do you reckon 2014 version of you? Like, what do you
Yeah.
reckon he'd be thinking right now?
It'd be I don't know. It'd be bouncing, buzzing, like yeah. I do think like over the years it has been crazy, and I never thought it would ever sort of get to this level. I had like hopes and dreams and goals and ambitions, and
Yeah,
I never in my wildest dreams thought it would get to this
yeah,
sort of level, and it's been amazing. And you know, 16-year-old me would be absolutely buzzing. And there's times where I actually try and think back to my 16-year-old self, and because there's times where you kind of get caught up in the work and you don't stop and smell the roses, and
definitely.
so I do try and often think of like, oh yeah, my 16-year-old self, and it just fills me with so much appreciation for the scene
Yeah,
and like
probably easy to get caught up. But then when you were to think back, it's probably times when you're driving to a show really far away or you're really tired on a plane playing abroad and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. But then 16-year-old you would be like slapping you, be like,
yeah, slap myself.
you've got nothing to be complaining about.
Yeah, for
Like
sure. Like, you've got this, man.
you're on a flight to New Zealand about to do
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
tour like this. It is
yeah, man.
crazy. And when I
It's
saw that, I was just thinking that's nuts.
yeah, it's insane, and it's literally like it's a dream come true. And to anyone making music and anything like that, just it's worth just putting everything into it and really giving it a good go, because it's beyond. My happy place is still chilling, making tunes. I'm out in the sticks. In my studio, I've moved out, but my studio is still up in my nan's garden in the shed. The same place I made ball in, the same place I made tunes good 4 or 5 years ago.
Keeping it humble.
It's the same place, and it's the blessing of this sort of music thing is like I would I get to like travel and see things and then do things that I wouldn't have necessarily done beforehand, so it's forced me to see things. That to me is like a real like perk to all of this is getting out and seeing people and meeting like people that are the fans and things like that. That's also incredible, like being in Australia and meeting someone who's heard your tune. It still blows my mind.
Yeah.
That is like the most incredible feeling for sure.
Yeah, I bet. One of the things that like was brought to my attention when I was just looking back at that, there's a quote where it says it takes 20 years to become an overnight success. And like for
Yeah,
your music journey, I'm not you said it's like 14 years or something.
yeah, I think it's getting to that. Yeah,
Yeah. So like it's not obviously not 20 years, but I think it's for a lot of people, you probably popped on to their radar when Ballin came out.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's interesting how no one sees the journey before that when you're getting gassed over your track getting 1,000 views and stuff. It's like you're building up to that one point and then you get that big track with Ballin and
yeah,
then all of a sudden you're on everyone's radar. It's like at
yeah.
what point did you know that that Ballin track was gonna do really well, or like did you send it to a few people and then like the reaction was just nuts?
Well, it's interesting, right? So I made that balling track, but the tune before that I'd sent to D&B All Stars. So I made a tune, and then I didn't have much luck with labels, and I
Mm.
think that kind of forced me to be independent for a while and all that sort of stuff. Um, but yeah, I remember I sent the tune to D&B All Stars, but they were the first label to actually reply and actually be like rejected the tune, but said, "Oh, keep sending tunes, and giving a bit of that, like at least there's someone listening."
Yeah.
So then I sent, and then the next track. So I went from a tune that got rejected, and then the next tune was balling. So it was funny to be like rejected and then have like quite a successful tune. And so it was when I had released it. It was it was probably the first time seeing that sort of quick boost. But it took about a year for it to really like it was already doing so like in my head doing amazing.
Yeah,
And then like, a year later with the edit coming out and like it sort of had this revival and then it really took off. And that was like, life changing. That was like an insane sort of growth because it's been so incremental.
yeah,
And from that to that was yeah, it was a good feeling. It was nice.
yeah. Who was the first big DJ? Like, do you remember like playing that track and like where you was going? What the hell? Like, how's this happening?
Yeah. So Don Whiten did played it on his his bike tours
Yeah,
and um so he played it there. So that was my first thing. And seeing everyone in the comments, loads of people were asking for the
the
ID
ID.
of that.
Yeah,
And I was just looking and I was like, it's like the same minute. And I was like, oh, it's my tune. I was like, this is sick. Like this is quality. And then being in a mix as well, scrolling and seeing it. And then I saw Turno play it. That was
that's
another one.
nuts.
I've been listening to Turno for
Yeah,
years, like, and his mixes. Growing up listening to Turno, and with all my mates, would bang his mixes on, and then seeing him play it, and it was on a story. One of my friends actually had sent it to me, and I was like, "This is your tune," yeah? And I remember just being like, "No fucking way!" Like
yeah,
this is wicked, and it's cool because that tunes it's sort of allowed me to get on the circuit, do the DJ and get amongst it, have a bit of the respect of the peers as well, and and earning that stripes of leveling up with the tunes. And then yeah, it's been wild, man.
yeah. Do you feel like because that track was just so big and like because you didn't have tracks maybe that were onto that level of just recognition. Do you feel like it came with pressure behind it for like your tracks after that? Do you feel any pressure, or do you just carry on as
Yeah,
usual?
a little bit. There was a little bit of pressure, obviously, trying to um always want to sort of maintain or what level you're at. And then I had maybe like a month or two where I'd got into my head with like, oh, the next tune has to be bigger or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, and then I kind of switched that off and was, just started having fun again with the music
mm,
production and not think too much about the numbers and kind of distance myself from that side of it. Although career wise the numbers are important. You have to like remember why you get
yeah,
into it, and then it just kind of took the pressure off. And I just have fun making tunes now, and I've got just see what happens and just do what I did before. Just keep making tunes, throw them out there. People like them, then happy days.
yeah. I think that's what it's all about. It's when to not overthink it, and that's when you're going to get those like happy accidents where just then bangers are going to come where you might not even expect them to, or like you might just hop in the studio just thinking, oh, I'll just see what comes out and then
Yeah, yeah.
blossoms. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and there's like tunes which is you sort of developing a sound as such, and there's things that you might fall into like doing over and over again.
Mm,
And so one thing I've found now, and especially for next year's tracks, which is going to be like there's a real wide range of tunes,
yeah.
and I'm proper happy with. Um, but yeah, it's yeah, I completely forgot where I was going with that
Yeah.
conversation. But,
Yeah, I think it's just like it's
we
one of
moved.
them where you, I don't think it's like almost a good thing to think that every track you make needs to be a banger. It's like
Oh
you've
yeah,
also
yeah. I remember.
appreciating that some of your tracks that you make, they're not going to be them ones which is like all over TikTok and stuff like that. But maybe your
Yeah,
core fans, they're going to be like listening to that one when they're, I don't know, cleaning their room and stuff like that. It's not always going to have that like big banger, but yeah,
yeah,
having those
100%. Yeah,
like hidden
that's
gems
that's so
almost.
true. Yeah, that's so true. And that all the tunes, it's you're gonna have that, and it comes with like it comes with stages. You have to make, I probably make five really bad tunes for every like, then I make like three okay tunes, and then you get the one which is like, and then at the start I do think get everything out there. It's that quantity over quality, and then then once you start sort of figuring out sound and as you sort of develop, I think then
Yeah,
the quality control goes up, and then you might not release as much, but you've got the the cream of the crop of the tunes, and having different to not get sort of fixed on trying to like level up or anything like that. Having different starting points has helped massively as well. So, you know, some I would usually start with like the melody or
yeah,
like a vocal, and then sort of build around that or flip it. Having like a completely different process and a different starting point, and just going like, right, I'm going to start with the drums today. I'm going to start with a pad or whatever. It just opens up that creativity for sure.
yeah. This conversation's just gone so quick. I just had the notification come up saying there's 8 minutes left of the call,
Oh
which is
yeah, another one.
just mad. But I'll quickly try to get this last bit in. So you obviously just came back from your tour with Alchemist in New Zealand.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Yeah, that was good fun. That was yeah, that was wicked. Being out there, we actually worked on a couple tunes while we was out there, and yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah,
It was wild. It was yeah, proper good time.
yeah.
There
What?
was some real pinch me moments.
Mm,
There's a point in Christchurch where after the show, they drove us up to like the top of this hill and it was like overlooking all of Christchurch, and it was like I was just in awe. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But yeah, it was heavy. There was a lot of partying as well.
yeah.
A couple of
Are the New Zealand and Australian ravers are they really as wild as they come across? As like from what I've seen,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
like absolute nutters.
Yeah, they go for it. They proper go for it. It was fun. Yeah. They're good crowds for sure.
Yeah, that's sick. Right, what I'll do, because we haven't got too much time, I'll quickly go into some of the questions that we got from people, just because I don't want people to be disappointed. The first one we got is social media. How is your relationship with it?
Yeah, so it's not too bad. I go on there. I mainly do the posts now. I'm sort of do what I need to do and then
Yeah,
dip out, and try and not go on it as much. But sometimes I still complain about not getting enough sleep. I'm still there on my bed, just going through my phone on
yeah.
like stuff
Literally,
like burning my
we're all
eyes.
like it. It's so bad,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Right, so let's go through it. So we got a question here from DRZ. What is your favorite 80s hit?
80s hit. I don't know. I only started listening to music at like 2012.
Or
Like
what old school banger then? We'll go for that.
80s hit. I don't know. Throw me some suggestions. You got throw me some suggestions of 80s
Ooh,
hits. My mind's
uh,
gone blank.
give me like one of your favorite like old school grime tracks.
Or like Wiley, or like um
Wiley
I'm
was a
trying to
go.
think. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Devlin. All right, Devlin. It's not really grime, but like Community Outcast in it.
Yeah, I know
That
what you
was
mean.
Devlin Community Outcast was wicked,
Yeah.
man.
We got a question here from James E.
Yeah, big up Jamesy.
Yeah. So quite a serious one. How many vibes can a vibe create in a vibe?
7.
Good answer. Um,
Nice.
Waypoint, he's came out with advice for the next generation DJs, artists, or ravers.
Um, Put yourself out there. Don't worry what anyone thinks. Just get yourself out there, and there's no right or wrong way to make it. In the industry, there's so many moving pieces, and you just gotta go for it. Do whatever you think's best, and yeah, just don't worry about
Yeah.
anyone's judgment.
There's quite a few here. I don't want to trying to make it fair. We got what do you believe makes your production stand out? It's got to be some of the slickest.
My production, I think I love I love it when it's like I love making stuff that's catchy, and when you get people, people singing back or knowing certain parts,
Mm,
that to me is I think I'm quite good for a good hook.
yeah,
That's
I can
yeah.
definitely vouch for that.
Yeah.
We got this one. Where do you get your vocals from? They are fire. And where do you suggest a producer get them from? And I think they've worded that weird.
Yeah, I get what they're saying. So
Yeah.
I use Splice a lot, and at the time when if you're just starting like producing, or if you're been producing for a while, but you're not established. Working with artists can be quite difficult, like getting other vocalists on and them giving time to your production. So Splice was amazing to actually have something to make a more complete, vocal drum and bass
Yeah.
track. And so I use that. And I'd say to anyone, I recommend, use the splice samples, use the vocal samples, even if they've been used before. I find it interesting seeing what other producers do with a vocal, even if I've heard
Yeah.
it in different tunes. And from that, I'm now, you can get into a position because you're kind of showing people what you can do with a tune that, now I'm in a position where I can actually work with vocalists. So next year it's going to be like more
Yeah.
100% original vocals. So yeah, Splice is the one.
Yeah. I think that is like really good advice because obviously me being a music producer, I use Splice, and like there's certain times I'm on there and I'll hit it. I'm like, I've heard Vibe use that one before, but
Yeah.
then I find it interesting because you get some people that'll be like, "Oh, using samples and stuff is not the same." But it's interesting how anyone can use those samples, but not everyone can get tracks that are in top 40 or just tracks that are going to make go absolutely nuts. So I do think it is just how you use them, because if anyone can use them,
Yeah, they're there to
why
be
is
used. They're
yeah,
there to be used there, and you can do some really cool things with them. And it's still a collaborative process. There's still someone who made that sample and put the effort in, and still a vocalist. And I've tried on tracks, doing the singing on tracks and doing the rapping, and and there's tunes which I have worked with artists on the tracks, and there's a convenience. Splice is amazing. You didn't have it like a good few years ago. So just being able to
yeah,
go on there and have some real top quality vocals. There's a lot of cheese on there, and there's a lot of like
mm,
random vocals, right? But
yeah.
you get some real gems on there if you just gotta keep searching.
Yeah, it is. I think it's just a case of searching through, and there's a lot of stuff that is like shit, but
Yeah.
it's sifting through, and then you get like that one gem that can just be like the icing on top for the track that you're making. So
Yeah, yeah.
it is just worth having a look through. But I'll pick one more question, and then I will let you run because I'm sure you've got a lot on.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on as well, man. It's been
Yeah. Right. What one are we gonna pick? We'll go for this one. Australia tour review and thoughts on the scene, favorite show.
I would say so Perth was good. Perth was amazing. The venue
Yeah.
was wicked. The people that looked after us, the crowd, the atmosphere as well was
Yeah.
insane. So that was probably my favorite there. I'd give it a solid 9.9999 reoccurring. Yeah.
It's a great answer. Right, I'm going to do one last one because this is what I want to know. Who's your favorite up and coming producer, or if it's more than one, just like shout some names.
So up and coming. So I'd say up and coming Jenks. Jenks.
Yeah,
Um
the stuff he's coming up is just
Dubs are
nuts.
insane. Yeah, he's a wicked producer. He's quite young as well. And if I just wish I was making tunes like that at his age.
Yeah,
He's a wicked producer. His dubs are amazing. They always go off. I play a lot
yeah,
of them, and yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah,
It's a
good
great
one.
answer. Right, so we've got less than a minute, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Big ups for
Nice
coming
one,
on.
man.
Really appreciate it, and I look forward to see what you come out with next year.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, bro. Cheers for having me,
Right,
man.
smashed it.